Here's a belief that sounds delusional until you try it. Even when life looks like it's on fire, everything is perfect. Because when you're out of alignment, things don't collapse quietly. They rage. And if you take it personally, you miss what's actually happening. Today, I want to zoom out, take a macro view, and show you how to see chaos not as something happening to you, but something happening for you, from you. This is the mindset that lets you stay steady while reality reorganizes itself around a new truth. This is Francisca. This is my mid-crisis life. And today is Monday Mindset.
Quick one. If you're in a season where everything feels unstable, subscribe. This channel is for growth that's real, messy, and actually useful.
Okay, hey. So, yesterday in Crisis Confessionals, I was talking a lot, as per usual. But no, I was talking a lot about like kind of how when we change, and when we choose that we're no longer gonna settle for whoever it is that we become, and we want more, and we feel like we want to be different. How that can create a lot of volatility around you because you're no longer in alignment with the life that you've been in alignment with previously, and a lot of that volatility can come from others who are struggling to accept you and struggling to accept this new version of life. But actually, if we can stay stable, if we can be the thing that's stable and not expect life to be stable, then life ultimately will have to realign itself around us. And I wanted to talk today about how do we do that, like in practical terms, how do we do that without cracking up, how do we do that when life is telling us that it's not okay, basically? And I think, firstly, there's this idea of having like complete and utter faith to the point that it can feel delusional, to believe that everything's okay, right? And I'm not suggesting that if you are truly being harmed, if there is like real risk and you need to protect yourself, that you should just be like, no, everything's fine. It's fine. Don't worry. No, you need to take action, and you need to make sure that you can keep yourself safe. But I guess I'm just talking in terms of like that destabilizing thing that's happening around you and everything being in disarray and there being just a lot of volatility around you. How do we say, oh no, actually everything's perfect. Everything's fine, even though it doesn't feel like it. And I think the first thing is about having this idea of like delusional faith where inside yourself, and you trust inside yourself, like, no, this is right. This is correct. What I'm doing is the right thing. And everybody might be telling me that it isn't because they want me to go back into being that version of myself that I don't want to be anymore. And life may be saying, well, actually, look at how fucking crazy it is. Like, now that you've made this decision and you've moved into this new version of you, clearly nothing's okay. So this isn't the right decision. But I think it's about having that knowing, that real strong inner knowing, that real strong trust in yourself. Like, no, this is right. I feel it. And even though everything outside of me is telling me this is wrong, I know that it's right. And maybe it's not about being delusional to yourself, but maybe it's about seeming delusional to everybody else. Like, I know when I picked up my shit and I left to go to Costa Rica, everybody was like, oh, Fran's lost her mind. Oh, she's mental. Oh dear. Oh no. But what if this happens? And what if it doesn't work out? And what if things are really bad? And what if the kids hate it? And what if this and what if that? And I was like, but what if it's amazing? And what if it does work out? And what if the kids love it? Imagine that, right? But people couldn't understand it. And I looked absolutely fucking delusional to everybody else. But to myself, even though it seemed, and even though it was difficult, and even though it was hard, and even though there was a lot of upheaval, I knew inside myself that this was right. And everything was telling me that it wasn't, but I knew that it was. And I think there's two ways, right, that really, really helped me to hold on to that delusion and for it not to feel delusional, right? So the first thing is, I think, to have that wider lens, right? To have that wider perspective, that kind of macrocosmic view of things, right? To understand that, okay, me as a person here in the microcosm can see this, right? Maybe if I'm wiser and I'm more self-aware and analytical, whatever it is, right? Maybe I can see this because I can understand like what's going on the periphery. But actually, there is this much, much wider lens that can see me from above and everywhere I'm going and everywhere I've been, right? If we can try and tap into that rather than this, me, and have that objective view rather than that subjective view, then it can help us to understand like, oh, okay, there's a trajectory and all these things that are happening around me seem crazy, but actually there's this real perfect balance, right? There's a real perfect balance to everything that's happening, and try to be able to see it that way and see the bigger picture, truly see the bigger picture by naming those things. Then I think it takes a lot of the pressure and the stress and the strain off of just looking at things and everything being on fucking fire around you, right? Because yeah, you know what, it may seem like it's on fire, but actually there's an entire fucking landscape full of greenery, yeah, that we're about to walk into. So I think having that lens is really good. I think the second thing that really, really helps is to have this understanding of things are not happening to you. Things are happening for you, and things are also happening from you, right? So a lot of the time it's easy, particularly when life feels like it's on fire, particularly when people are acting out because they don't want us to change. They don't want us to have boundaries. They don't want us to move into a place that's healthier for us because it's not as healthy for them, particularly when all of those things are happening and everything's telling you, everything seems to be pointing to, like, this is not good, this is not good, this is a fucking shit show, right? It's easy to feel like things are happening to you, like I have no control, like I can't influence things, I can't influence people, everything's just mental, right? It can feel, what's the word, debilitating and persecutory, right? And we can start to feel like these things are happening to me, but actually everything that happens is happening for you, right? Even when we have people in our lives that are harming us and rejecting us and whatever else, right? This is happening for us. It may not seem like it, and they may not even know that they're helping us, that they're giving us a gift, that they're doing these things for us to help us to grow, to help us to realize, to help us to see, to help us to change perspective, to help us to know and have greater security, like what I want, what I don't want, who I am. These people out here are all just mirrors that are creating an existence for us. So it may seem combative, and it may seem like that, I don't know, you're not really doing me any favors by treating me like shit, right? Because I just said no, I don't want to be that person anymore. But actually, you really are. It's happening for me because this is allowing me to see something new. It's allowing me to be something new, right? And I think that if we can hold on to those three things, that kind of delusional faith in ourselves that we're making the right decision, that ability to see things from that macrocosmic perspective, and that real true belief and acceptance that these things are happening for me and they're happening from me, they're not happening to me, then it can really help us to remain stable, to remain steady, even when everything feels like it is, like, falling apart around us. All right, cool. That's it. Come back on Thursday for Chrysalis Tools. We are going to do a practice that is going to help us to do exactly that. It's going to help us to be able to see things from those perspectives and to help us through those difficult times. All right, cool. That's it.
If this helped, come back Thursday for Chrysalis Tools. We'll do a practice to stay steady when life feels chaotic. And subscribe so don't miss it. See you then.